Welcome, everybody. Once again, here in 2024, Crescat attended the Precious Metals Summit at Beaver Creek, Colorado. Very exciting show. Once again, we had a large number of companies that we were invested in show up, and we did interviews, just like we always do every year. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend. I had some health issues in family here that we're addressing, so I was not able to be at the show, but Kevin and Tavi did a number of interviews that I think you'll find very informative, and we really look forward to presenting these.
I'm Kevin Smith with Crescat Capital, and I'm here at the Beaver Creek Precious Metals Summit with Michael Bennett. He's president and CEO of Altamira Gold, and they have an exciting copper gold project in Brazil. Just tell us a little bit about it.
Well, Kevin, it's a pleasure to be here, to see you again. We've got a project called Cajueiro in central western Brazil, right in the middle of the continent. A project which we've had for several years, and where we have a resource of 700,000 ounces of gold within a structurally controlled ore body. And what we've done over the last few months is we've been moving out and doing exploration, doing drilling on a different project called 7 kilometers away in the same project area, but called Maria Bonita. And the drilling has shown us something totally different to our central area. It's shown us that we have a porphyry, a gold porphyry. And why am I saying that? I'm saying that, and I'm with great conviction, because the world expert Dick Silito has been out to our property 4 months ago and has given us the seal of approval that we've probably got the first gold porphyry in Brazil. The importance of that is that we've got extremely consistent gold mineralization. We've drilled down to a depth of about 230 meters so far. Our best hole has a grade of 146 grams per ton over our best hole has a grade of 1 gram per ton over 146 meters. And we have fantastic metallurgy on that. So there's porphyry number one. So Dick Silito came out, he said, look guys, now you found one, these things usually occur in clusters. So we then had a second consultant out visiting our property, Eugenio Espada, also a very, very renowned porphyry expert. He went over the area, he walked around, he used his time very, very wisely, and lo and behold, 1.8 kilometers away, he found porphyry number two.
On your property?
On the property. Porphyry number two is called Mombaki. We've now taken soil samples and rock samples there. We have those in the lab right now. And he said to us, well, guys, if you've got 1, 2, or maybe more porphyries, which are gold porphyries, something is probably plumbing that system. So look for the porphyry zero. Look for the mother porphyry, which is below all this, and that should have a magnetic response. And so we rehashed all our magnetic data. We sent it to a renowned geophysical consultant. He has identified right below Mombaki at 500 meters depth a magnetic high, which is over 1 kilometer in length. And so we're extremely excited, Kevin. We are going to get all our stuff ready for a future drill program. And we believe that, the next step is obviously to drill deeper, both in Maria Bonita and in Mombaki.
Well, great. So Crescat is an investor in Altamira Gold. We've been invested for a few years now and been getting money. Quentin, our geologic director at Crescat, has been very excited about the Maria Bonita target and finding that 140 plus meter hole that's still open, right? 1 gram.
Still open.
That's the kind of stuff that Quentin thought was there, and now that they've proven it up. And for us, this idea now that it's not just gold, it's a gold copper porphyry, that is really exciting, because the story just becomes even bigger. And now that you've found the second porphyry on your property, and then you have the third resource already that's kind of along the same trend, right?
Yeah, 7 kilometers away, we've already got 700,000 ounces, and that could easily grow quite rapidly in the future as well. So as we start adding these things up, we start building this into a district rather than just a little gold project.
So a potential district scale copper gold story in Brazil, with a discovery already, and one that looks like it's going to continue to grow. So I encourage you to go to Altamira's website and check out their corporate presentation. They have some nice pictures of some of these new rocks that you guys found, this is a story. You guys trade on the Toronto Venture Exchange. Is that right?
That's correct.
Under the symbol ALTA. Like I said, Crescat's been invested in the story for a couple of years now, and we've been getting the money to do the drilling, and we're really excited about the results that we're seeing. We encourage you to check it out. Anything else you'd like to say about the project or the company?
Well, we think now we're into our district there, Kevin. You know, now that we found one, not just one, we found two. We believe that the 15-kilometer area in the center of our property package, which has all the streams work for alluvial gold, will probably show us much, much more in terms of these porphyry stocks. And so we'll look at both the surface, the 2D expression with our geologists and all the sampling we're doing, and we'll look at the deep-seated source of this thing. So we're really, really excited.
Great, great. And I know Quentin's going to be excited to get the update from you too, because you haven't talked to him in a couple weeks. So
I certainly will do
and
that.
then we can talk about it on our Friday videos too, and Quentin can give you his spin. All right. Well, thanks, Michael.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Great to see you again.
Good to see you. This is Kevin Smith. I'm with Crescat Capital, and we're at the Beaver Creek Precious Metals Summit. And I'm here with Manuele Lazzarato. He is the head geologist at Goliath Resources. Goliath, as most of you know, is one of Crescat's largest investments in our portfolio right now, and it's been large because of the success that they've had with making a very significant gold discovery in British Columbia. Lele, can you just give the audience a little bit of a background on Goliath and the story in general before we get too technical here? But we did bring some rocks.
Yes, thanks Kevin for having us. So as Kevin said, I'm a geologist with Goliath Resources. We have a project in the Golden Triangle, just north of Terrace, between Terrace and Stewart. We found this shear-hosted system. It's a series of veins that are strongly mineralized. We look at quite high gold grade content in there. It's generally pretty simple system. There's the shear zones that cut across the mountain. First year when we first discovered it, we realized we have a good 3D view of this system going across the mountain up to one side for a kilometer, down the backside for 1.1 kilometers. We started drilling in 2021. I've had pretty good success so far. Pretty much all the holes that we've drilled to date have intersected the mineralization, and we keep finding new stuff.
It seems like it keeps getting better as you guys keep doing more drilling. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, for sure. It's been a pretty exciting season for us. We've continued drilling. Obviously, we're trying to expand on the known mineralization, but we are also seeing new things that we didn't know existed before. Part of them we were kind of expecting, especially deeper down in the system. As most people that follow us know, so far we have the Sherbet zone, which sits, it's kind of hosted in the sedimentary units, sitting in the top package of rocks. Then we have a series of volcanic units sitting below the sediments, and at that contact between the volcanics and the sediments is what we call the Bonanza Shear. It's another mineralized horizon that we've done quite a bit of work on this year. And then below the Bonanza Shear, sitting within the volcanics, we have what we call the Golden Gate and the Mothership feeder zone. So we're finding some new stuff down in there as well. So this year, one of our focuses was on expanding the Bonanza shear zone. We are delineating a zone that is about 300 meters by 500 meters within the Bonanza shear, where we have high-grade material. We get anywhere from 5 to 10 meters in thickness. Some of the holes that we have assays for already.
Is this from the Bonanza Shear?
That's from the Bonanza Shear, but kind of off to the east a bit, at what we call the jackpot showing. But in the Bonanza, in that high-grade zone, we are finding pretty consistent grade over 5 to 10 meters. Like we're talking close to an ounce or more. We have 2 holes so far that we've released assays for, 197 and 235, and they both ran over an ounce per ton over more than 5 meters. So we are definitely doing kind of close space drilling in that zone, and we're trying to delineate a relatively large area of high-grade material. Now, this material is generally occurs at the intersection of multiple shears. In this case, the Bonanza and the truss that makes up the sherbet zone itself. A similar situation is where we have this sample here from. It has quite considerable amount of visible gold right in here. And this is from what we call the jackpot showing. It's off to the east, about a kilometer, and that sits again at one of these intersections between the Bonanza shear and one of these truss sheets that comes up.
Okay. And one of the new interesting things you've discovered out there is that the dikes, the intrusive granite-related dikes in between the shear zones also have gold in them. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. Yes. So this is a pretty new discovery for us as well. We found out that all the dikes have like this porphyritic texture, and there's veins of quartz that cut through these dikes, and these veins contain visible gold, first of all, but they also contain molybdenite, they contain bismuth mineralization, there is a little bit of tungsten in there as well. So putting this all together, it's like this reminds us a lot of like the reduced intrusion related to gold systems. We have a vein density of about 3 to 5 of these quartz veins per meter that we see so far. We see that in quite a lot of the drill holes that we've drilled between 2021 and now. So obviously we're kind of trying to focus on that more now. We've gone back and sampled the dike material from 17 holes drilled between 2021 and 2023, and obviously the current drill season as well. So we are waiting for our assay results, but this could definitely be an important part of this system. We also went out and did some more prospecting and mapping on some of the intrusions that surround the sherbet zone, and we were actually able to find the same material about 4 kilometers to the south of the sherbet zone itself. It's like this ridge. It's all part of this granitoid intrusion, and it has these stacked veins. Like when you fly up the side of the mountain, you see these stacked veins, and you get multiple veins per tens of meters, like for hundreds of meters. And so we did some sampling there, and as I said before, we're waiting for the assay results. But
so this is a new part of the story for us, that they're also onto a reduced intrusion style discovery that is interwoven with these shear zone gold veins. And I'm not a geologist, but he is. So this guy is a mountain climber, and when Roger, the CEO, first came to us, he was talking about how the glaciers had melted away, and these guys had discovered this streak of gold across this really high, steep mountain. And Quentin right away, our geologist at Crescat, our geologic and technical director, he said, all right, you guys have to put a drill right up here on top of this mountain and drill right into this thing, which we gave them some money, and they did. And this system just continued to grow ever since. What was that, 3 years ago that we made that first investment?
I think you guys came in 2020.
2020.
Just before we started drilling, actually, when we were doing the systematic channel cutting across the mountain there. Yeah.
So this guy is a real explorer and knows how to find gold. I encourage you to go to Goliath Resources website, check out their corporate presentation, look at their results. They've had a very robust season with up to 8 drills operating on the property, And I think you've only released a couple of holes so far. I think there's a lot of assays still to come, news results still to come over the next few weeks and months, right?
Yes, that's correct. So we are starting to get results back now. We'll release them in the coming weeks or months here. We'll put together a few of the drill holes, especially when it comes to the bonanza stuff or sherbet mineralization. So we kind of want to have multiple holes so that we can show some more context and not just give our shareholders like one single hole at a time. So that's kind of, so yeah, but yeah, we're working towards that. We'll have drill results coming from the new discovery. Well, we did it last year on Treasure Island, about 40 kilometers to the north. We had our inaugural drill program there as well.
Tell us a little bit about Treasure Island.
Yeah, so Treasure Island is this rock outcrop that sticks out of the glacier. Last year we were in there for about a week to 10 days. We did the mapping and surface sampling. We ended up with surface or like outcrop samples that ran up to 28 grams per ton gold equivalent, 20 grams per ton gold, 5% copper in there. It's just all splattered with chalcopyrite, pyrite, like nice sulfide material. So we went in this year for an inaugural drill program. We did around 3,000 meters of drilling from 4 pad locations and 12 drill holes. We intercepted the mineralization on an average thickness of about 33 meters. Within that we have 7 meters where we have semi-massive to massive sulfide. The material that we see in the drill hole looks exactly like those samples that ran up to 20 grams per ton gold on surface. So we're pretty excited about that stuff. We'll see what the results are going to say, but the plan is to do a mobile MT survey in the spring, and then that also includes like the stuff surrounding this island in the within the glacier, just so that we get an idea of what to expect under the ice, basically. And then again, if results are good, we'll plan a follow-up drill program. It could be up to 5, maybe even more, 1,000 meters. Yeah.
That's great. So this is a very significant gold system in British Columbia in the Golden Triangle, and I encourage everyone to go look at the results. They speak for themselves, and there's going to be a lot more results still to come. One more thing that I want to say is that we are in great company invested in Goliath with Eric Sprott, with Rob McEwen, and with and Global Commodity Group based in Singapore. All right, thanks, Lele.
Thank you so much for having us. It's always a great pleasure, and thank you for everything you guys do for us as well.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
All right. All right. I'm Kevin Smith with Crescat Capital, and I'm here with Ken Brophy. He's the CEO of Intrepid Metals.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, now President and COO, because Ken Enquist just joined us as the CEO as of Monday of this week.
That's right. So some exciting news on that front. Why don't we just start? Well, let me just start by saying that Intrepid Metals, they are a company that Crescat is invested in. They have 2 exploration projects in Arizona near the Tombstone district. One's called Corral Copper, right? And we'll talk about that in a minute. And the other one is in Tombstone.
Tombstone South. We're just south of the town of Tombstone.
And that's a silver project. But why don't you talk about the new CEO that you just brought on?
Yeah, so Ken Enquist, very strong technical background. He's been involved in both juniors but as well as majors over the last number of years, working for a number of majors. So it's great to have him on board, and I certainly look forward to continuing to work with Ken and continue to build out the company. I'm sure we will have more additions to the team as we continue to grow. Because as you know, Kevin, we're a relatively new company. We only started in May of 2022, and we wanted to first focus on building out a strong portfolio of all drill-ready projects, which we've done. Now it's time to start moving some of those forward.
And you've had some really good success drilling, especially at Corral Copper, and even before you started drilling, you've had success basically in getting the Hatfields and the McCoys to come together, right? Tell the audience a little bit about that.
So yeah, Corral Copper is a real exciting project of ours. We called it Corral Copper because we actually had to corral a whole bunch of this fragmented land ownership. You know, to date we now have 9,600 acres of mineral rights. 1,800 acres of those are private land, so a combination of patented mining claims and additional surface rights. And to your point, Kevin, you know, it took a long time. You know, we had to build relationships with a lot of local stakeholders, kind of understand, you know, some of the history as a first priority, and then illustrate that the only way that we can really create value is to be able to corral or consolidate this district. So now we have certainly more of a district scale opportunity, and because of the fragmented land ownership previously, a lot of the previous exploration was also fragmented. So we're the first ones now that's been able to come in and look at this more as a district scale opportunity. We raised $6.6 million to start the year in January in very tough market conditions, and I think that helps illustrate the strength of both the team that we have as well as the assets. And we started drilling because within patented mining claims, we didn't really need to seek permits, right? That's the, you know, the holy grail of having patented mining claims is it's private lands. So it's more like dial before you dig. We're notifying the county this is what we're planning to do, and we had tremendous success. You know,
Tell us about the results, because you have, you know, shallow, high-grade copper with silver and gold too. Is that right?
Yes. So, you know, to simplify it, you know, our story is very, you know, unique because it's shallow, high-grade copper mineralization primarily within private lands, and we have this 3.5 kilometer trend that we've started. But you know, all of the drill results can be found on our website certainly. But you know, a highlight is 112 meters of 1.5% copper, included over 0.5 gram per ton gold, as well as some silver. So when I look at, you know, a lot of the success from the drill bit thus far within this 3.5 kilometer trend, I see mineable widths and mineable grades again within private land. So for a company with only a, you know, $20 million market cap, we only got 45 million shares outstanding. I often like to say we're just scratching the surface, which is true, because some of our drill holes are essentially coloring in mineralization.
Great. And so you have plans to do more drilling, more deeper drilling too?
So at this stage, you know, since the drill program began, we've been continuing to do some additional work. You know, we've done some detailed mapping. We're reinterpreting some of the historical geophysics that we've been able to acquire. We've done some other, you know, smaller studies, and we've identified a number of new target areas. So most of the target areas we've identified are still within our private lands, makes it easy for drilling, and most of them are still going to be relatively shallow. So while the source of all this mineralization that we've been able to drill thus far is yet to be discovered, so i.e. the elusive porphyry. I think we're going to continue to focus on trying to create shareholder value by continuing to drill out some of the shallow,
Well, if you have high grade at surface, I mean, that's where you should focus, right?
Well, a unique analog to our Corral Copper is the Copper Queen mine in Bisbee. And the Copper Queen mine in Bisbee had 53 million tons of 6% copper. And that was a rather small condensed. Then they found the porphyry, and that porphyry they operated for the next 60 years. But you look at the most favorable host rock at the Copper Queen mine, the Abrigo limestone units, we have the same, and we also have very high grade. While it was within a meter and a half, we drilled through 20.2% copper, 8.5 grams per ton gold, and 250 grams silver. So this district and the geological setup is known for high grade mineralization near surface, and that's what we're going to continue to focus on in the near term.
Well, that sounds good. One of the reasons we originally got invested is Quentin, our geologic and technical director at Crescat, was also really excited about your Tombstone project. Can you talk a little bit about that too?
Most certainly, yeah. Tombstone South is another real exciting project. Some of our technical staff as well. are eager for us to drill that target. So Tombstone South is similar to the Arizona mining story, where there was previous drilling, shallower drilling, just mostly in the sediments, but they never tested or got into the favorable host rocks of the limestone units just below. So we acquired the asset. We've done, the first thing we completed was a large dipole IP survey, just so we could see a little bit deeper, because we wanted to see if we could see anything in that upper units of the limestone units. And we identified this large and strong chargeability anomaly. So it is a bit of a deeper target. We'd expect to get into the target area around 600 meters. So we'd likely be looking at, 1,000-meter holes. But at the end of the day, as we all know, that's not as uncommon these days. But the strength of that geophysical anomaly, the location of it up in the upper stratas of the limestone units, but also adjacent to the major fault, because there is a porphyry off to the northwest of our property. It's a lower grade porphyry, uneconomic, but the importance in it, as Quentin and many other people would know, it helps drive that mineralization that we're excited to be able to see from the drill core in the months ahead. We're hopeful that we'll be able to start up drilling again later this fall, but certainly into the beginning of next year, and we'll look to drill both Corral Copper as well as Tombstone South, and it's unique. They're only about 30 kilometers from one another, so we can utilize a lot of the same logistical setup of core facilities and equipment.
Okay. Well, Ken Brophy, Intrepid Metals, encourage you to go check out the company presentation on their website. And it's a story that Crescat is happy to be involved in. On both the copper and the silver target, and we hope to see you guys start that drilling again in the fall.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure meeting you again.
All right. I'm Kevin Smith with Crescat Capital, and I'm here with David Stein from Kuya Silver, and we're at the Beaver Creek Precious Metals Summit. And so David is CEO of Kuya Silver, and they have a company that we're invested in at Crescat, and they have a production story. They're going into production in Peru, and as most people will know with Crescat, we invest in a lot of exploration stories, but this is actually one of our production stories, and it's not even a development story. They are going into production. They've already gone into production at their Bethania mine in Peru. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. So we announced first ore production from Peru, from the Bethania silver mine, very recently, a couple months ago, and we're in the process of ramping up right now. So we've got a development plan that'll take us about another 12 months-ish to get to our initial target run rate, which is about 350 tons per day. Now, if you look at the grades in our PEA we put out a few years ago, that should give us around 1.2 to 1.5 million ounces a year of silver equivalent production. And that's our kind of starter operation. That's what we've permitted, and that's what we want to do to get into production, and then use that cash flow to start growing the operation. Lots of exploration upside. We've done very little exploration, even though we control a big silver vein district, and we have the ability to build our own mill at some point. Okay, we're toll milling right now. We'll build our own mill, we already have a mill permitted, and then expand on that over the next 3 to 5 years. And we think we can make this a really big silver mining, district in central Peru.
Nice. So silver, of course, is in high demand right now. I think demand has been exceeding supply now for the last 2 years because there's not a lot of silver mines in production out there in the world, and we have this new demand from electric vehicles and solar panels and this whole environmental push for decarbonization. The world needs silver, and photovoltaics, solar panels, use a lot of silver. And it's not, it used to be that when they stopped using silver in photography and went to digital cameras, it's like, well, what are we going to do with all this silver? Well, the world has a need for it now in an industrial use, and there's not a lot of producing silver mines out there. You have one that's going into production. Talk about the value opportunity relative to some of the other silver producers out there.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. And actually, I think in Peru, where we are, the silver production's actually declined quite a bit over the last few years. You know, mines shut down, or maybe they're mining lower grades, or whatever the reason. You know, it's and so there is a big opportunity, and there's not a lot of supply. With our mine, you know, and so beyond the supply-demand story, I think there's a really interesting valuation story with silver companies as well. There's so few of them out there. You know, there might be 10 to 12 primary silver producers that are publicly traded companies in the entire world. And so when investors do get bullish on silver, they will funnel into very few companies. That drives up their valuations. And you're already seeing that a little bit here and there. Some of the companies that are in production already, you know, are trading at, you know, 50, 80 times last year's EBITDA, for example. The market clearly is projecting a lot of growth on those companies, but even some of the cheaper ones are still, you know, 8 to 10 times. Today we're about a $25 million market cap. US dollars, I'm talking, and so there's a huge opportunity to get recognized as one of those, you know, silver companies. It's an elite club, and we're just about to join that club, which is really exciting.
Nice. You know, yeah, some of these other companies, Silvercrest, Aya. What are some of the other ones?
MAG, First Majestic, Endeavor.
So these are the comparables, and
Yeah.
they're trading at what times EBITDA?
Well, between 8 would be the lowest, and there's, you know, up to 80 on 2023 EBITDA.
Wow.
Yeah. So companies that were in production all year, full year last year, and you know, obviously some of them have, you know, some pretty big valuations.
Exciting indeed, because there's not a lot of new production stories out there that are pure silver focused, and Kuya Silver has one. We're excited at Crescat too, because we own a private company that's a big silver producer, but we're not here to talk about that right now. But so David, you also have a new silver discovery up in Ontario.
Right.
That's also pretty exciting. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think, you know, our shareholders kind of get the Ontario project, the Silver Kings project, for free. You know, I think we, you know, as we just discussed, you know, you can more than justify a lot of upside in our stock just with Bethania, but the Silver Kings project is really exciting. You know, I think a lot of, you know, there was a lot of silver production there in the 20th century. Then about 30, 40 years of nothing. This is the silver cobalt camp in Northern Ontario. We've put together a big land package with, you know, by making some acquisitions with a few other junior companies. And, you know, we made a blind discovery last year, drilled through 200 meters of barren rock and hit 15,000 grams per ton over 3.3 meters. So that was our discovery hole last year. We're kind of drilling that out now, as well as we have some other zones. Now that we've kind of cracked the code there in terms of where you can find these blind silver deposits, we think we can now duplicate that as well in other zones. So we could have more. We could have several of these on our property, and you know, just a matter of time to go and drill those. And we're actually drilling right now. So we will have drill news over the course of the fall and into the end of the year here. And so we should have, you know, a lot of activity. We're going to be putting out news about Bethania as we ramp up production and start hitting milestones there, and then also in Canada.
Nice. Quentin, who's Crescat's geologic and technical director, was when they made the discovery in the Cobalt District. He was like super excited because it's a famous silver district, right?
Yeah, that's right. And you know, I think where kind of people have gone wrong historically is that they're hoping to find another one of these near surface silver veins, but you know, they produce more than 500 million ounces in the 20th century from this camp, and I think all the near surface silver, or the silver that's right at surface, is gone. They found it. The prospectors found it. But what we're doing now, which is different, and I don't think anyone's done this before, is we're going after silver targets that are at depth, where there isn't necessarily a silver vein sticking out at surface, and that's where we found the
You're having success in
the Angus vein discovery.
finding
Exactly.
Yeah. That's awesome. We'll look forward to hearing more about that. Anything else you want to leave the audience with in general about Kuya Silver?
Well, we've got big management ownership, including myself. So we run it like investors, and we're just trying to create shareholder value. I think, as I said before, we've got 2 great projects, either one of which could justify our market cap. So it's a great opportunity, and with silver looking good as well, it's a good time to look at Kuya.
All right, Kuya Silver, and you guys trade on the TSX, or
we're on the CSE,
and
on the OTCQB.
Okay.
If you want to buy us in U.S. dollars.
Okay, that's great. David Stein with Kuya Silver. Encourage you to go to their website and check out their corporate presentation. And Crescat is an investor in Kuya Silver, and it's one of our exciting growth opportunities going into production right now. All right, thanks.
Thanks, Kevin.
I'm Kevin Smith with Crescat Capital. We're here at the Beaver Creek Precious Metals Summit, and I'm here with Alan Sabet. He's with Mogotes Metals, is
Yes.
it? Yeah, Mogotes Metals, and they have a very exciting project in a big district. And can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Absolutely, yeah. So we're in a part of the world called the Vicuña district. It's an emerging copper district. What's exciting about it is there's been several, I would say, copper discoveries, 2 very significant large copper discoveries in the last 2 years. One of them is called Filo del Sol. The other one is called Lunahuasi, and they're actually quite close to us. So we're direct neighbors to Filo del Sol, and the next discovery up would be Lunahuasi, which is with a company called NGX Minerals. And these are very, very large, exciting discoveries. We're sitting in this mineralized belt that is about 1,000 kilometers long, north to south, and much of the world's copper has come from there. And the Vicuña district is a part of that 1,000-kilometer trend, but it's a more recent part of the trend, and these discoveries are very recent. So Lunahuasi, for instance, I believe it was last year that was discovered, and Filo del Sol in 2021 made a really high-grade discovery there, and it's been shooting off ever since. And we're right there. We're directly south of Filo del Sol. We have a number of really exciting exploration targets, and we've been working for just about 2 years now, coming into our 3rd year of work there. And yeah, everything's looking really exciting.
So just to explain a little bit more for the general audience, BHP, one of the biggest mining companies in the world, just invested a pretty large dollar amount to buy or to invest along with the Lundin family in Filo del Sol, right? That's the project right next door. How much did they pay, or what was the valuation that they came in at?
There was I think it was a combined bid, and the idea is that BHP and Lundin Mining will have 50-50 on the final acquisition. It values Filo at 4.5 billion Canadian dollars.
4.5 billion Canadian.
Yeah. So typically in the neighborhood, when your house sells for $1 million, you don't find the next door house for.
I think this
much
is
less.
a new record valuation for an exploration project out there
Yeah.
in the world, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think it is, and it speaks to the quality of what can be found in this district, right? The copper, the amounts, the scale, the quality of the targets that were there, and what's been found. And what's going to happen next? Obviously that's up to BHP and Lundin Group, but it seems likely that this will emerge into a large-scale mining camp, one that could provide copper for hundreds of years. That would be a really significant part of the copper production of the biggest mining company in the world, and that's why they would spend this money, right? They're not spending this money just casually. It's quite a lot of money. I've seen some estimates that up to 1/5 of the copper that BHP produces could come from here, or maybe more. So that would be significant.
So one of the things that that Quentin, at Crescat's Geologic and Technical Director, Quentin Henney, got excited about this project because recently Argentina has become, it seems, a little bit more business friendly with the new president Milei, and is offering mining incentives. And I think, you know, you guys moved pretty quickly to acquire this land package as some of those changes were coming about. You know, tell us more about that.
Well, I think some of the, just to outline what they are, the incentives are, you know, there's a number of them, but if you're building a mine, you're going to get, you know, a protection agreement from the government. You're going to get import-export waivers on tariffs and on import duties, and you're able to freely trade your commodity that you're producing in and out of the country. You know, there's tax holidays. There's a number of things, incentives that have been put in place that make it a really attractive place to start a mining project. And I think, you know, one of the consequences of that is that big mining companies like BHP have come in, and I think they'll continue to come in. You know, one of the things you didn't maybe catch on, a lot of people missed, was there's a second one of our neighbors called Jose Maria, which was owned by the Lundin Mining Group, that BHP has also bought half of that for approximately $1 billion. So, so I mean, the transaction value puts that at roughly $2 billion valuation. So we're sitting, you know, we're sitting in this district with a $4.5 billion purchase and a $2 billion mine development. So it's really exciting. And so these incentives have really worked, and I think we're seeing a lot of interest from the big mining companies into Mogotes.
One thing that that Quentin is excited about on our side is a lot of geologic features that that are similar to Filo de Sol. Can you talk about that at all?
Yeah, I mean, the way we see it is this is a district. It's extensively altered, so the rocks are altered, and we've got copper, and several deposits have been found. And it's a district where the belt of productive mines runs north-south. Okay, so starting from north, coming south, we've got Los Helados, Lunahuasi, which is, you know, with NGX Minerals, both of those. And you come down to Filo del Sol, and the belt continues. It doesn't just stop, and it actually goes for over 1,000 kilometers. So the continuation of that alteration and that belt is directly into our project. And that's where, you know, zooming into the project, we've got 9 target areas that we've identified. And those, each of them have their own characteristics. Some of them are similar in the sense that they're high sulfidation epithermal type targets, and they sit quite close to the Filo del Sol deposit and on trend with them. I think we've got 4 targets of that character. Some of them are more porphyry-like targets. They would sit in a deeper part of the geological model, and they're different in character, although have similarities as well. But what we do see that's similar is we've got copper in soils across our project, and, you know, it continues straight into Filo del Sol. We've got alteration across our project. We've got large geophysical features in, for example, one of them would be in the MT survey that we ran, where we see large conductive MT features, and that's similar to what they've got at Filo and what they've been using to kind of establish the strike length of that Filo del Sol deposit. So there's a number of things that we're using to target that are really positive. And, you know, in one instance we had, for example, at our Rincon target area, we had followed up systematically through the, you know, the exploration process, and we went and put trenches through that target, and we've just announced that a couple of weeks back, 150 meters of 0.22 grams gold, sheeted veins, and really exciting rocks coming up there. And we hope that as we get deeper under that system, the grade will increase, and we've got some really nice targets under that Rincon system. For instance, we know we've done exploration at multiple of our prospects, and each of them is shaping up to be quite attractive in their own right, with their own characteristics. But all of them are an opportunity to make a world-class discovery like our neighbors.
Well, I know Quentin wants to get a lot more drill holes into this project, and that's why we put in money, was to see that happen. And so you guys, you know, it's early stage, but you know, these are some big targets. You know, Filo de Sol, for instance, is you know, how big is that resource up to at this time?
We don't quite know, because I don't think there's been a formal update on the resource. You know, what they have done is been very transparent about their drill holes. It's all on their website. So, you know, analysts are pulling the drill holes down and running it in Leapfrog and doing their own resource estimates. So I couldn't tell you right now what it is.
But it's a
beast.
primary copper
Yeah.
story, right?
Yeah.
With some
A lot of precious metals in there, a lot of silver
precious
and
metals
gold
too.
in there.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
fantastic discovery.
The world is really in need of big copper discoveries, and that's why this one is so valued today. When you have that precious metals, byproduct credit, that really makes the copper stories even more exciting, right?
Absolutely, and we see that as well at our project. As I said, trenching, we're seeing
Yeah.
gold, we're not just seeing copper. So we've got copper and gold prospects across the project, and there's also silver, anomalous silver in these kind of systems.
So we like this because it's very early stage and yet potentially very big. So it's not without risk because then they're going to need to raise a lot of money. They're going to need to do a lot of work. But the potential prize for a target like this is BHP scale type target that they have. So. Any other final comments you want to leave for the audience here, Alan?
Yeah, I would say we talk about having a target, but what's great about this, we've got multiple targets, different levels of exposed system, and so we've got multiple bites at the cherry. So it's
Absolutely.
it's looking, as far as exploration projects go, being where we are with the right structural setting, alteration, copper extensively moving across this system. It's just, I think for me, it's just a matter of working systematically through this, and I think our chances are good.
That sounds great. All right, Alan. So we encourage you to check out Mogotes Metals. You guys trade on the
Yes, we're in the
TSXV.
venture. Its code is MOG. We're also on the Frankfurt Stock Exchange.
All right. Do your homework, but it's one we definitely encourage you to go look at their corporate presentation and try to learn some more.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks. I'm Kevin Smith. I'm with Crescat Capital. We're here at the Beaver Creek Precious Metals Summit, and I'm here with Mike Spreadborough. He's the executive co-chairman of Novo Resources. Full disclosure, Quentin, who also works for Crescat, is the other co-chairman of Novo Resources.
A very important member of the team.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and Crescat is invested in Novo. We've been an investor for a number of years, and we're excited about a lot of the different opportunities that they have. Mike, can you just give the audience the basic story of what's going on, the three pillars, like you say?
Yeah, no, thanks for catching up. So I think, where we've started 2024, which is advancing very rapidly, the company is in good position, given some of the issues that happened in the last couple of years. We started the year with a very clean balance sheet, which I think was really good, a really good cash position. So our whole strategy this year was really tied around three things. One is, and we'll get into more detail, I'm sure, the edge in a joint venture that we have with De Grey. That's an absolute great opportunity for our shareholders. De Grey is a $2.2 billion market cap company. We've got tenements right next to them. June last year we did this deal with us spending $25 million over 4 years to earn 50%. And as I say to people, you only do the maths. That's $25 million for 50%. Well, that's $50 million kind of in value. So that's a fantastic thing for shareholders. Their program is going really well. They've got 2 drill rigs drilling flat out. So that's really the key aspect for us. We still have over 6,000 square kilometres of tenure in the Pilbara. We've already completed 2 drilling programs this year. Results have probably been a little bit disappointing, but that's kind of the challenges of greenfields exploration. You work very hard to make the right decisions and hope that you'll get success, and we'll keep doing that through that 6,000 square kilometres. And then the other side of it is we are out there now looking for new projects to bring into the portfolio. We've got the capacity with our team, and we've also got the financial capacity now. So we've been looking for particularly copper and gold projects in Australia that we can bring our intellect to those and bring them into a decision to mine. So we're looking for advanced stage exploration projects, and we'll keep doing that. Gold price is up, so we think it's a good time to keep looking for good gold projects.
Okay, great. So kind of the 3 areas, and the joint venture with De Grey, and they're spending
Big money.
big money, which
Big
is
money,
great.
yeah.
You're doing your own drilling. as well, and then the third is that you're looking for a new project.
Yeah, definitely. And between now and the end of the year, people will know that in the Pilbara we shut down in November because it gets a bit hot and a bit of rainfall, but we'll still do one more drilling campaign, probably about 3,000 to 4,000 metres on one of our properties. Not sure which one yet, but we still have good opportunities there. They're early stage conceptual, but that is the excitement. So people will see some results come through from that drilling program. You'll definitely see more results come through on the edge in a joint venture. And if people have been keeping up the news, you'll find that in Victoria, early this year, we completed a drilling program on our Belltopper project. We've done some re-logging and looking at the previous work of other people. And from that, we re-assayed stuff. So we found mineralisation that people haven't identified. So in the next couple of weeks, people will see a really good update on Belltopper. And for the first time, you'll get a concept of what it really all looks like in 3D, because we've done a nice little video as well. But the positive is we've now got a bit of a production exploration target on what we see, the prospectiveness. So that's been a solid piece of work for 2 years. And if I recall, I think Quentin was excited about that project about 6 years ago. So it takes a long time, some of these geology early stage projects.
Sorry, you're drilling there now?
We're finished drilling for this year.
Okay.
We'll put out this update, a bit about pathway forwards. And if things go well, we'll go back drilling. We like to drill in Victoria when we're not drilling in the Pilbara, right? So we can share resources. So it's early stage next year. You'd expect us to go back drilling in Victoria before we go back into the Pilbara.
Okay, exciting. So news to look forward to on Belltopper in Victoria.
Indeed, yeah.
Okay.
And as you and I know, gold price is good. I think it is a great time to invest in gold companies and definitely speculative exploration companies.
Yeah. Yeah, Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, they say when it rains gold, don't put out the thimble, put out the bucket.
I like it.
Who would have known that would apply literally to the gold? Because those guys don't buy gold. But that's the way I feel about this market. For the past couple of years, and that's what we've been doing at Crescat. We've been putting money to work into exploration companies, companies that are making discoveries, that have made discoveries, and we're helping them get the money to do the drilling, to make the discoveries, and to build out the target resources, and this is and Novo's one of the companies that is doing that in our portfolio, and we just keep putting money to work because this is the valuations are cheap, with gold now close to 2,600 today.
Yeah,
I think
great.
we the junior space, the exploration space, starting to move. Look at some of the prices today. Some of the moves today. I mean, it's like finally people are waking up.
And here we are
it's just the beginning.
Yeah, and at the Precious Metals Conference the last 3 days, there's been more optimism, I think, than last year, and all the commentaries about gold price still having a bit to go. So we're in a good place. And just a reminder, everyone, I should have mentioned before, one of the big things we did, since the last time we caught up is we're now listed on the ASX as well.
That's right.
So we're dual listed. That it's all about because we're home in Australia at the moment, but it provides more liquidity, more opportunity for everyone. So about a third of the stock now is trading on the Australian Stock Exchange.
Oh, that's great! And you're on the big board in Canada.
Big
too,
board
right?
in Canada, the TSX.
Yeah.
So we're in the big two platforms in the world for resource stocks.
All right, Novo Resources, symbol NVO on both exchanges, AU and CT, or that's if you have a Bloomberg.
Yes.
Anyway, check out their website, Novo Resources. A lot of different things going on there. Great property package in the Pilbara, and looking for a new drilling at the Belltopper, and looking for a new copper gold target is what you're looking for, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Something kind of advanced to where you can
can take it forwards and get into a cash flow position. Yeah, that's our challenge.
And develop it.
Great.
And that's your background. You work for BHP, right?
Well, I've done everything from being involved in exploration, feasibility studies, build 2 mines in my life. I've run big operations, over 10 million tonnes underground operations, and I went a bit strange for a while. I'd read the largest iron ore port in Australia for a couple of years to do something a bit different. So I love the resource industry. It's a great industry to be with, great people, good place to be.
All right. Mike Spreadbro, Novo Resources.
Thank
Thanks,
you
Mike.
very much.
All right. This is Kevin Smith. I'm with Crescat Capital. We're at the Beaver Creek Precious Metals Summit, and I'm here with Darwin Green, who's Executive Chairman of Onyx Gold. Darwin, just tell us a little bit about Onyx Gold.
Well, Onyx, we're a junior explorer in Canada. We were actually created about a year ago, so a fairly new company, focused on Ontario and Yukon. We got a really nice land package right up in the Snowline Gold district, with some great intrusion-related targets there, and we've got a massive land position in the Timmins camp in Canada, one of Canada's, actually Canada's largest producing mining camp.
Right. So Crescat is an investor in Onyx Gold, and we invested because they have property in the Yukon that Quentin, our geologist director at Crescat, is extremely excited about. But they also have this big property package in the Timmins Gold Camp that they have consolidated, and I think it's the biggest property package in Timmins of a junior right now.
Yeah, for sure. And it's it's something that doesn't happen overnight. Camps like that, they've been around for 100 years. They're very competitive, very mature camps, and very congested with other people. And we just, this has been a multi-year campaign for us that predated Onyx and the precursor to Onyx, which was High Gold Mining. And just like we've done over 30 deals within the
30
camp.
deals.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it quietly assembled what we think is a very, very attractive land position. It was the nucleus to it was the former Crescat mine, which has these, was a spectacular high-grade past producer. You can go to the Royal Ontario Museum in Toronto, and some of the biggest, most beautiful specimens come from that mine. And that was a bit of a blessing and a curse, because what happened, there was a giant staking rush in like 1909 when this was found, and there's these patents that have been tied up for over 100 years in family states. So we did the heavy lifting, grinding away, assembling all that, and now
a
we're
lot of meetings over the kitchen table with a lot of different prospectors.
Yeah, that kind of thing, right? And people that have now all over the world now that own these things, and fortunately we were able to work out deals that we thought were fair deals, and then we systematically went about exploring it. We've already made 2 discoveries there. We think we're onto something very significant at our Argus zone. We've got a multi-million ounce deposit that's now over 4 million ounces on one side of us called Fen Gib. McEwen Mining's Black Fox Mining Complex, which is over 3 million ounces, is on our southern border. And just along trend further, there's another plus 13 million ounces. So there's a lot of gold in the neighborhood, and what we have is an area that's been grossly underexplored, and we're getting to it, and already, it's very early days, we're making significant discoveries. And, it's a nice barbell approach for us to, in the summer we can work in the Yukon, and we really like our assets there. Timmins, we can work year round, and, our view is when you look at the big takeovers, the Great Bears, the Osiskos, the one where the biggest premiums have been paid to date, they're often in those tier 1 established mining jurisdictions where you got power and people and, all the things. We love the Yukon, don't get me wrong, but I think the threshold's a little lower in a place like Timmins as well. So, that's our mandate to explore both. Raw explorer, we're certainly a great value opportunity right now as well.
The market cap is for what you guys have going on, it seems to me the market cap is pretty low, and that's attractive to us. So we're invested for 2 reasons: the opportunity in the Yukon to go after one of these big reduced intrusion style gold systems like Snowline, and you should, I encourage the audience to go to their website, look at Onyx Gold, look at their corporate presentation, and I think they have some pictures in there of the sheeted vein system up in the Yukon that looks a lot like Snowline's Valley deposit and one of their other reduced intrusion gold discoveries that they have, or early stage ones at least. But anyway, that's why we invested.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you've been making Snowline-like discoveries in Timmins, right?
Yeah, well, it's nice to have that diversity. Yeah, I mean, when you're drilling 50 meters at 2 grams, I think the irony here is we're doing that next to a highway on a brand new prospect, an area surrounded with multi-million ounce deposits. And thus far, it's a bit of a sleeper discovery. It's a very early stage thing. I think the market's going to catch on soon. We're planning to hit it hard with additional drilling soon. I think you make that next to Snowline. If you did that last year, we probably would have gone up $2 on the news, right? But we love our Yukon properties too. You're absolutely right. We've got great sheeted veining on surface, where we've got great gold numbers from it. We've been doing the legwork this year. We had a couple fly camps out there. We didn't drill it this year, and we're waiting to see which way the direction was going. And it was a bit of a tough year for the territory, but I think that's a cloud that's going to pass, a storm that's going to pass, and it just gives us the ability to work a couple things at the same time, which is, I don't know, I think as an investor, it's nice to have that exposure to multiple things.
All right, and I really think this Timmins story is coming along great. I'm excited to hear about it. I mean, this is where you've seen stories like Great Bear, and get taken out for a lot of money. That was Kenross, right? And
Yep.
and then Goldfields recently came in and bought Osisko's Windfall.
Another couple $1 billion transaction. Yeah, they're big transactions, right? And it's the land of big discoveries, and we feel like we're the go-to explorer there. We're onto something new. It's very early days, so there's some risk with it. But that's, you look at Great Bear and you actually follow its discovery. It wasn't a $30 stock on day one. It takes a bit for the market to really recognize what you have, and then you get some momentum drilling it and growing it. And we kind of feel like we're right at the very front end of that now. And that sounds, fairly confident, but we've been in this business a bit, and we've been involved with different discoveries in our days, and we're very excited. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Darwin Green, Onyx Gold, go check it out. It's listed on the TSX Venture Exchange. Onyx is a symbol as well, ONYX, and go look at their presentation. It's pretty interesting.
Thanks so much,
Darwin.
Kevin.
All right.
Really appreciate it.
Take care. Okay, this is Kevin Smith. I'm with Crescat Capital. We're at the Beaver Creek Precious Metals Summit, and I'm here with Mike Berkey. He is the VP of Corporate Development for Sitka Gold. He's also a geologist, and Sitka is a company that we at Crescat have invested in, we've recently put in money. We are really excited because they're in the Yukon, and they're one of their major projects is in the Yukon, and they are onto a big reduced intrusion style gold discovery that reminds us a lot of Snowline. Most of you know who know Crescat know that we're early investors in Snowline, and that's been one of our most successful investments and big gold discoveries in the Yukon. These guys are onto something similar. Just tell us in general about the discovery.
Yeah, so I've been with Sitka Gold a few years, but previous to that, I worked for the Yukon Geological Survey for 20 years. So started there in the 90s, so very familiar with reduced intrusion deposits as Fort Knox was discovered in the late 80s and explorers started coming over to the Yukon. So worked with Craig Hart, who's the chair over at Snowline Gold. He's on our advisory board, so early stage getting to understand these deposits. I was first on our Clear Creek project, the RC Gold project, in 1992 when I worked for the Geological Survey as the regional geologist. So very familiar with the project, very familiar with its potential, and I've seen the model of exploring these evolve over the years. And the narrative has really changed with both our Blackjack discovery, which is, initial resource 900,000 ounces at 0.83 grams per ton. And then, of course, the Snowline discovery out at Valley Gold, where they're hitting even higher grade mineralization in a lot of their drilling. So typically, these large, low-grade reduced intrusion deposits are viewed as, half a gram, 0.6 gram deposits. But the narrative has really changed. So the work that Snowline is doing and the work that Sitka Gold is doing, we're starting to focus and try and understand the controls on these higher grade mineralized systems. And that's what we're focused on at RC Gold, and we're having great success. We just recently put out visuals on our deepest drill hole to date. We drilled from surface to 700 meters and observed visible gold over 40 times, starting at 4.5 meters depth to 680 meters. So we're seeing what looks to be a strengthening of the system at depth. And so we're using that knowledge to look at the rest of the property where we have a number of intrusions, 8 different intrusions that all are gold bearing, have had various bits of work on them. So we can apply this knowledge to find more deposits and hopefully the higher grade ones too. So it's an evolving but very interesting deposit. And that's the key, you know, if we can raise that grade a little bit like we're seeing at Blackjack and that Snowline is seeing, these deposits all of a sudden become very economic.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Fort Knox deposit in Alaska, and they're mining profitable gold at like 0.3 grams per ton.
That's their head grade they're using
and
there.
the grade that you guys have shown so far is significantly higher than that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So it bodes really well for the future, you know, because we have so many targets. We've obviously keyed in on the Blackjack. It's the gift that keeps giving. We haven't defined the limits of it, and we're gaining a lot of knowledge of the controls on mineralization there that we're seeing parallels and other places on our property where there's known mineralization, but maybe not the understanding back. Those were last drilled in 2012, some of these areas that we're looking at. So this new knowledge that we have, we can apply to there and bring more success to the company as we drill those areas. So yeah, these are really, you know, the beauty of these reduced intrusion systems is their consistency, their size. So there's a lot of potential for a pretty significant deposits to be discovered on our claims.
That sounds great. And you've recently expanded your property package, right? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we acquired the claims that were to the south of us, our Blackjack and Eiger deposits. We're only about, you know, a couple kilometers from the claim boundary. So the claims to the south of us, we added another 40 square kilometers. That property package contained the southern portion of the Clear Creek Intrusive Complex, which is this cluster of intrusions. It was the area of Clear Creek that has historically received the most exploration. There's about 4 different areas that have had produced pretty significant results in drilling. So we acquired that ground back in June, and we're looking forward to really testing it and applying the knowledge that we've gained back on those other areas. And I've worked in the past on those in 2012, as well as other members of our team are very familiar because they've worked on those claims in previous drill campaigns. So we've got a really in-depth knowledge of that, and so to be able to apply the knowledge we've gained in our exploration to date onto those, we're pretty excited about that.
That's great. So you have, you're doing a lot of drilling right now, right?
That's right. Yep, we're still drilling. We're going to drill till the end of October this year, when Yukon winter kind of sets in. So we're looking forward to getting through the rest of the season. No reason to stop now. We're producing excellent drill results, so we'll just keep forging ahead. And we're doing other geological work too. We've done some mapping, different things. So we're really working with a kind of holistic approach to really understand this system, because we're very early stage. The initial drilling was in 2020. The discovery drill hole at Blackjack was in 2021. You know, we've been slowly, methodically exploring, you know, working through COVID and some very difficult times in the industry. So to get to this point where, you know, gold is a historic high today, we're starting to see some light at the end of the tunnel. We're very well positioned and really happy that we were, you know, determined, knew what we were onto, and kept the ship kind of sailing and working on our project through these difficult years. And we are pretty confident that the payoff for our hard work is going to really start showing itself here in the next year or two.
Well, it seems like it's starting to, for sure. But you know, the investing public seems to like the drill results you've been putting out and showing up in the stock price going up, and that's nice. And you have a lot more assays pending, right?
That's right. Yeah, we have a number of drill holes in the assay lab, so we'll have a good stream of information coming out as those assays trickle in. The one hole that I mentioned, hole 68, was our best hole as far as visual results, seeing observations of visible gold. We're waiting on the assays for that one, so we're excited about the results to come.
Some really pretty pictures of the core. I encourage people to go to the Sitka Gold website and you know, take a look at some of the results they put out to date.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Every geologist loves to see visible gold, and it doesn't happen that often. So we're getting a little spoiled, but that helps us get out of bed when you see that drill core coming down the hill. The geologists are waiting pretty patiently there because they want to get a look at it right away. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. Well, anything else in general you want to tell the audience about Sitka Gold?
I think, Sitka Gold, we're a very strong technical team. Our board of directors is very strong technically. Corco, our CEO, is a geologist. I'm the VP Corporate Development and a director. I'm a geologist. Don Penner, our president. I could go on the list, but we're very strong technically. We're geologists. We want to find deposits. That's our motivation. We market through the drill hole. I mean, we do our best to get the word out, but we like spending our money on drilling, and that's something we've always committed to in the past, and we've done it. So we're going to continue to deliver on that, and hopefully we'll see a lot more discoveries coming out of Sitka Gold, because we're working hard to find those gold deposits, because nobody gets more excited about them than we do.
All right, and that's as do we. And so you're listed on the TSX.
Yep.
Okay, it's SIG, I think, is a ticker symbol. Correct. On the Venture Exchange. We encourage you to check out their website. And Mike, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Good luck.
Great to meet you in person.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.
I'm Kevin Smith with Crescat Capital. We're here. I'm here with Scott Berdal of Snowline Gold. We're here at the Beaver Creek Precious Metals Summit, one of the most exciting precious metals conferences of the year. And Scott has got some incredible drill results going at their Valley project in the Yukon, and as well as a number of new targets, new discoveries, and one of the most exciting things we've got going on is, as many of you know, Snowline has already come out with their initial MRE, their initial resource for Valley, but they're doing a lot of drilling that is infill drilling, showing that this is likely to get even bigger and better. Scott, do you have any comments you can talk about with the resource?
Yeah, sure. So, the results that you mentioned, we just released a hole that was 245 meters from surface at 4.1 grams per ton gold. So, really, really nice grades, sustained over a big distance, which is something we've come accustomed to at Valley, and we're getting a bit spoiled there. But nonetheless,
that's like one of the best holes you've had so far, right?
It's definitely up there, yeah. And within that, there was a sustained run from 80 meters of 100 meters of 6 grams per ton. So we haven't. That's the best we've seen over 100 meters. Though we have seen, some things that are pretty close to that elsewhere. So it's nice to see, that consistency and those strong grades, continuing over sizable distances right near and at surface. On that, and so it's great. Our drilling on Valley this year had two goals. One is essentially infill and de-risking and upgrading the resource. About 45% of the initial resource estimate was inferred, so that's the lowest category of confidence. And so as you drill more, you can kind of upgrade, de-risk. Like you're just assigning a better understanding to what's there with that increased drill density. And it's very often the case. You have nice results, and when you go to infill and go to upgrade, you end up taking a haircut because just what you thought was there wasn't. Mm-hmm. And so when you infill and hit what you're hoping to hit, that's always a great thing. When you exceed it, like a lot of these holes have, that's even better. And so we're really happy with that, how that's coming together. It's too early to say exactly how it's all going to shake out, but we've certainly seen, especially in that high-grade near-surface zone, a lot of holes that are just exceeding what we thought, exceeding already very high expectations. And the second goal of the program at Valley is stepping out and building things. We have open edges to the system in terms of our exploration so far, where some of the boundaries of what we knew were pretty good intersections, and so keep stepping out from there and keep building it. So that's something we've been pressing ahead with as well. And, again, we'll see how it all comes together at the end of the season.
And you still have a lot of holes still to be released, assays pending, is that true?
That's true, yeah. We have over 22,000 meters and counting. We have 5 drills out there right now active, and yeah, they're drilling away. I think we're on hole 117 or hole 118 at Valley, and so we've released now up to hole 80. So we're looking at close to 40 drills.
And lots of visible gold in the core too, right?
Lots of visible gold, yeah, yeah. And so that's a beautiful thing about exploring that deposit is that it's almost a lot of gold systems are very cryptic, very hard to tell what you're into. Sometimes it's very not cryptic. You get big gaudy visible gold in the drill core. We just get little specks of it, but still you can use those specs, and you can use the number of quartz veins that you see over these big distances to start to get a sense of qualitatively anyway, is this super high grade, is this just pretty good, or is this kind of marginal stuff? And so that allows us to adjust our drill program in real time and sort of build on what we've gotten so far.
Nice. And well, it sure seems like it's growing, and the that both in that upper area, the initial starter pit kind of area, right, but as well as down deep, there seems to be some growth going in that direction too.
Yeah, no, there's good, the mineralization sort of plunges off in all directions. It's somewhat constrained on the southwestern boundary where there's a hard contact. So the mineralization is housed in this intrusive body, this magma that came up 90 plus million years ago. And it's mostly in there. It goes out into the country rock a little bit, but on the southwestern side, there's a hard boundary, and we do see the mineralization kind of going right down in some places right along that boundary. And that, we've had a couple of holes into there that are pretty interesting. Others not so much, so we're still figuring that out. But elsewhere, it just kind of plunges off into, the 3 remaining directions and in between them. And so yeah, that's what we're exploring and chasing that down, and yeah, we're seeing how much we can build there.
So remind people what the initial resource was in terms of gold ounces, and then give people a sense of when you might be coming out with that next upgrade to the resource.
Yeah, so again, talking in those categories, we had 4.1 million ounces that are indicated, so that's a higher level of confidence, and a lot of that is the kind of high grade near surface stuff. So that's that's what we would like to have the higher confidence on anyway, because that's what you're going to be mining first, and also your confidence in higher grades has sort of more of an impact. And then in addition to that 4.1, another 3.3, 3.2, 3.3 of inferred, and so altogether, it sums up to about 7.3 million ounces.
7.3 million ounces of gold. I mean, that's a lot of gold, and likely to be growing, right?
That's right, and we've like I say, we're pushing on the boundaries there, and hoping to grow it, and we've taken a fairly conservative approach with that estimate. We've looked at only like a mill only scenario, which leads to a higher cutoff grade. So we're not looking at heap leaching, though that could be something that factors into a mine plan later down the road there, but it's really not a part of what we're contemplating with that 7.3 million ounce resource. And that's in part just to show, we don't want to convolute the picture that, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. This is a very simple deposit. It's a very nice high-grade near-surface geometry, and so we're just showing, the plumb of what's there. This is what we could do in a mill with quite conservative estimates, and and hopefully building out from there.
So the economics and the recoveries and everything in a milling scenario, not even having to heap leach, are good, it seems.
It seems that way, certainly, yeah. So for the initial resource estimate, you basically have to make some economic assumptions to figure out, okay, what is cutoff grade, what is actually recoverable, what's not, and so we just looked at that sort of. For the high grade, we wouldn't want to do a different process because you'd be leaving so much on the table. If you do a really low cost but low recovery method, when you're talking about 100 meters of 6 grams, the delta between what you might recover from something like heap leaching and what you might recover from a mill-based process is big enough that you're going to pay for that mill many times over. That said, that's something of a forward-looking statement because we haven't done the proper, PEA.
Sure.
We haven't done just shaken everything out and gotten all the details and everything, and really done that very detailed analysis.
But it sounds like that's one of the next big steps is the PEA.
That's right. So we're, I think the next big step is just getting an update on the resource out after this season's worth of drilling. But yeah, we're keen to get to the PEA. And we're looking to do that, in sort of the next 18-month window. Really, as soon as we can, we'd like to have something there, because that's, again, the attributes that make Valley what it is, the consistency, the recovery, the near-surface nature, the high grade, and it really is just almost like a pit-shaped ore body that we found so far.
Very continuous.
Exactly, and those are things that'll make it stand out for its weight class, and so we're excited to get to that step and really be able to talk numbers and put that onto the table.
It's a tier 1 asset for sure, right? I mean, this is what the majors are looking for. And of course, you guys are going ahead and with a plan to potentially develop it yourself if you have to, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of value to be realized in just going ahead with it. Like, if the world of the majors didn't exist, and we were just out there and we'd found this much of this commodity at this price, there's a clear path.
The economics are compelling.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. But this, so you have this huge prize at Valley, and you're focused on it, but you have a lot of other exploration that you're doing too. And so can you talk about that at all?
Yeah, so when we launched the company, Valley was one target of many. It was really about this district that we saw out there, this region with incredible rocks that have a lot of parallels to Nevada, a lot of parallels to a lot of the more prominent gold camps in the world. And yet they've seen almost no exploration. And we had gone in there about a decade prior, a little more than that, and started poking around in there. And we found just anomaly after anomaly after anomaly. We'd optioned some of the ground out and had some good teams doing some good work out there. And it was just the conditions of the markets that brought the projects back to us. But with that, we were even more anomalies and some really good data and some just a lot to follow up on. And Valley was one of those. It was the discovery of a few outcrops. And of course, our subsequent going out and doing the surface work and drilling has led to what we just talked about. But yeah, it was just that. It was just a showing, one of many. And so this regional thesis, Valley is a huge proof of concept for that. And so that makes us that much more excited about pretty much every other target out there. And we're still finding more. Like in that release just earlier this week, we had 2 additional targets that we announced the discovery of. And this is still just from walking around, boots on the ground, and seeing new zones of mineralization, new areas of mineralization, new intrusions in the same cluster as Valley that are hosting gold. And so we just need to figure out how much.
Charlotte is the new one that's pretty close by.
That's right. So Charlotte is now the 6th new intrusion that we've found, or reduced intrusion related gold system, the same sort of system as Valley, in this broader plutonic complex in the past 2 seasons. And so that's pretty exciting to find that many, but also to still be finding them. And so it remains to be seen if they have gold grades that are anything like Valley or economic, but of course that's our job. That's what we're out there to find out. And if it can make something like Valley, I think it's quite unlikely that it wouldn't make something at least half as good somewhere. But we also don't know that Valley's the best thing out there either. So we're very keen to see if we can find something else.
So you said you had about 5 drills running this season.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so how many meters have you drilled?
We've just cleared 30,000 meters, I think 2 days ago. So
you're still drilling.
It's still drilling. Yeah.
Yeah. How much of that is at Valley versus these other new targets?
Roughly 2/3 at Valley and 1/3 on the other targets. So,
well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Scott Berdahl with Snowline Gold, definitely encourage you to get familiar with the story if you're not yet. Scott, any final words you want to leave?
No, it's just thanks for having me on, and thanks for your support. Yeah, we appreciate having Crescat as a shareholder, and you allowed us to do that confidence, allowed us to make those discoveries at an early stage. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. I'm Kevin Smith with Crescat Capital. I'm here with Tony Rita from Tectonic Metals, and we are at the Beaver Creek Precious Metals Summit. And so Tony has a project in Alaska that is a big intrusive related gold system, and Can you just tell us a little bit more generally about the project?
Yeah, for sure. What drew us into the area was there's a deposit down the road that's about 40 million ounces. So we're in a mineral belt that has the capability to produce a tier 1 deposit. And I asked myself, could there be another one lurking in the shadows? So we have a very strong relationship with one of Alaska's leading native regional corporations. They are the landowner, and they actually happen to be our second largest shareholder behind Crescat. And so I approached them, and they presented this opportunity to me that is a Fort Knox analog. And for those that don't know, the Fort Knox mine, it produced its 9 millionth ounce. It's owned and operated by Kinross Gold, and it's one of the most prolific mines in Alaska. It has a milling operation and a heap leach operation. And ironically, the same group that discovered and advanced the Fort Knox mine into production, they actually put the first few drill holes into our asset back in the mid-'80s. And so it had gold endowment in drilling. It had 1.4 million ounces of recorded placer gold coming out of these intrusion targets. It had a 4-kilometer long golden soil anomaly. These are all signs that point to that we're dealing with something that's large in size. We did our first drilling last year and hit gold in every hole. So we have 74 drill holes in total at our main target, and every hole has hit gold mineralization. And here we are now this year going to execute our second ever drill program.
Yeah, well, thank you. Well, we are very happy to be investors in Tectonic. And so Tony mentioned Quentin Henney, who is Crescat's geologic and technical director. And Quentin has been one of the geologists, one of the key geologists out there that's been very passionate about this reduced intrusion style of gold deposit, gold mineralization up in the Tintina Belt, and it's a big belt that extends across the Yukon and into Alaska. And as you know, we're invested in some other companies like Snowline and Sitka that are onto some big high-grade intrusive related gold discoveries. What we really like, what Quentin really likes about Tectonic especially, is that this is one of the biggest systems that we've seen that we also believe is fully preserved, and it's just an enormous package of rocks, a land package that they have that is of this reduced intrusion style. And like Tony said, every hole has hit gold, virtually every hole, if not every hole has hit gold mineralization, which goes to show the consistency and the potential tonnage and scale of this thing. Fort Knox is kind of the the analog, the model, where people look at these types of systems and they say, well, it doesn't look like it's very high grade, but for the type of system that it is high grade. And Fort Knox produces gold at what cutoff?
Yeah,
cutoff?
The cutoff is 0.18, but the current reserve grade of the gold going to the heap leach pad is 0.3 grams per ton, and the grade going to the mill is about 0.8. And you can look at the financials, the quarterlies. I mean, this mine makes a lot of money. And so grade is important, but it's not just grade. It's how do you extract the gold from the rock. So metallurgical recoveries play a role. Is it open pit? Even the style of deposit, is it like a vein system that goes deep? So all these factors, how do you get your power there? What people also probably don't realize is that your biggest energy consumer and your biggest cost contributor, when you look at all-in sustaining costs, is crushing and grinding. So how fine do you have to crush that rock in order to get the gold out? And Fort Knox is profitable because it actually is a run of mine, which means they don't have to crush the rock. They just do one primary crush, and then it goes right on the pad and it starts to leach gold. Where other mines, if you have to crush the rock down to, say, a pebble size, imagine just how much energy and power that takes and how much money it takes. So this is why you can make lower grade systems economic. And also, one thing to note, worldwide, the average grade of an open pit deposit or underground deposit right now is 1.04 grams per ton. So that's the bar we're working with. That being said, our project, we've drilled grades as high as 50 grams, and historically we have 211 grams per ton in drill core. So there is high grade in this system, which is very comforting. With any project, it takes you a while to fully understand it. This reduced intrusion-related gold system, I mean, it's important to understand the features of it, the analog, but I can tell you the last project that we sold for $520 million, you know, we hit gold almost in every hole there, but what we're seeing is that you have to kind of date someone to fully understand it, to understand the geological controls. And I think with 1 year of drilling under our belt, our own data, geophysics, LiDAR, liniment analysis, we're now at a point where we can take the data that we have and the data that our historical explorers have obtained for us and be more impactful this year.
So yeah, so recoveries are a key part of the story, and that's one thing with this type of gold system, and this project in particular, they have really good recoveries. There's going to be more data on that coming out soon, right?
Yeah, we did. We're probably the only junior that's ever done metallurgy before drilling. We did that on a historical drill core, and we got 99, 97, 96% on average gold recovery. And now we're doing our first ever heap leach column tests. And that's being done at a 3/4 inch crush, which is a very high bar already being set. Again, going back to that argument of how fine you have to crush that rock. And those results we expect to have out in the next week or so. And following those results, we just announced yesterday that we're drilling probably one of the very few juniors right now that has like $3 million cash in the bank, and we have immediate catalysts. And we've gone on record in our news release yesterday stating that we expect to have our first ever drill assays for this year's program by the end of October. So you'll have metallurgical heap leach test results. You'll have our first drill results by the end of October, and then ensuing that or following that, we'll have more drill results in November and December. So a lot of catalysts, and we're in a backdrop of $2,500 gold. The majors are actually producing better balance sheets. Their quarterlies are looking pretty damn good, and the share prices have also performed. So will that help, Kevin?
I hope so. The junior mining explorer stocks have underperformed the gold price, the major, but that's the opportunity. I mean, gold prices are up. The money is starting to come in, just starting to come in to this sector, we think. And but it takes its way to find it takes time to find its way down to the small and micro cap explorers. But at Crescat, we are interested in the exploration segment of the industry because that's where you can go after some big targets. I mean, and that's what we like to do. That's what Quentin, our geologic and technical director, gets excited about. Early stage, big targets. At Crescat, we like to get the money to the companies to do the drilling. We've invested in several rounds with Tectonic, and they're drilling right now. So, like Tony said, expect news to be coming out over the next few months. And I encourage you to go look at Tectonic Metals. Go to their website, check out their corporate presentation. And this is Tony Retta, CEO. Tony, any final comments?
I know that's just a big thank you to Crescat for making. You were the lead on the last few financings, and so his last comments are stay tuned for some good results coming down the pipeline. And as far as I'm concerned, we wouldn't be here putting our reputation behind something we didn't believe in. And for context, our last project we sold for $520 million. So stay tuned for the results, and I look forward to you proving me wrong.
All right, thanks, Tony.
Okay, I'm here with Crescat Capital. This is Tavi, Costa. We're at the Precious Metals Summit in Beaver Creek, and I'm with Kit Mars from Western Alaska. Kit, good to see you.
It's always good to see you, Tavi, and it's great to come here to Beaver Creek. It's good to have this session right after the end of this year's drilling program, and so it's a good timing.
I would agree. Well, since you hit on that already, let's talk a little bit for folks that don't know your story. Okay. Maybe share a little bit of the kind of the overall structure of your company.
Sure. It's we are a post-discovery company. Western Alaska Minerals is traded on the TSX V under the WAM symbol. Went public in 2021 November with the assistance of Crescat Capital and a few others. So thank you for that. Prior to that, we actually explored the district for 10, 11 years privately. So much longer history working at the Illinois Creek District, and actually longer than that. I was the first project geologist for Anaconda back in the 80s, so we don't want to go that far back. But that's when these deposits were first discovered, so a long history of discovery in the district, and we're continuing with that. You may recall 2022 and 2023, we focused our drilling on our Water Pump Creek deposit. So I like to drag samples along with me, so I'll hold this up for the, this is, we bring it to the events like this because most people have never seen what true high grade looks like. And so this is some of the very high grade silver. Some of these intercepts are over 1 kilo per ton silver and over 20% combined lead zinc. So this is really our flagship, but this year we shifted gears a little bit. We announced the resource in March. Very well done, very good, consistent, good metallurgy. So we decided to focus our drilling this year on 2 new targets. First,
how much does the resource add to the story so people understand the upside?
It adds quite a bit because until you announce a resource, now this was just our initial resource. It's by no means the end of the story. We felt that with the magnitude of the discovery, the grade, that we needed to make that public. And so it has become one of the cornerstones of our company. 75 million ounces, 74.9, so I've rounded off. And that is a silver equivalent. That's very substantial. We think we're 60% of the way towards what would be an economic mine. This would be a underground mine, low environmental footprint, low capital costs, because it's very, very high grade. The margin of this rock that I showed you is, say, in the $600+ ton gross metal value and $120, $130 a ton mining costs. So we don't have economics yet, so those are just estimates, but this would be a very high margin deposit.
Now, you had some drilling this season that I think will also substantially not change, but add to the story. Maybe touch on that.
Yeah, this is what we have as a classic carbonate replacement deposit. So has been made very, maybe not famous, but more well-known the last several years by Dr. Peter McGaugh, who is really the world's expert in CRD deposits, founder of Mag Silver. Good friend of mine, lives in Tucson, a few blocks away. So Peter has been a technical advisor to the company since before we went public, been on site a number of times. We put out a press release this week on Tuesday, just in time for Beaver Creek. And I'd like to point everybody to that. There's a link to a video interview with Peter. And what we're trying to really bring out is the true scale of the Illinois Creek CRD system. 2 bookends, one end, the past producing Illinois Creek mine, which was the first open pit heap leach gold mine in Alaska. 8 kilometers to the northeast is the Water Pump Creek deposit. All part of the same system, truly a large scale. This year we did some exploration drilling on a geophysical geological target that we named the Warm Springs target over a little tiny outcrop in the creek. First time it's ever been drilled. Our first 2 drill holes were hole 4 that hit a copper gold zone. That was announced about 10 days ago. Second, hole 5 was just announced Tuesday, also hit, and I just happened to have a sample for that. Not as shiny as the other one, but it's an example of the massive brecciated silicified pyrite and the copper gold zone that lies at the top of this unit. So it's a great new discovery. We still have probably 5 to 7 drill holes that are yet to be reported. Our last sample from the one I have in my hand was just shipped to the lab last Thursday, so it's hopefully getting crushed and sorted as we speak. So we'll have assays coming out between now and the end of the year.
So new flows will be coming out soon here, the next 2 months or so. The other question would be, how would that change, especially Warm Springs and others, your focus for the following year? You know, with any changes in plans at all?
Well, it's going to be, of course, funding dependent, but Warm Springs will become probably the primary target because we've just tapped into it. Would like to develop a 3rd resource on the property at Warm Springs. Whether it becomes more of the copper gold or at depth or below that copper gold, the lead zinc silver is yet to be determined. We also, in some of the new geophysical work we've done, can show that the Water Pump Creek structure continues to the north. All the drilling we've done in the past is from the surface discovery to the south. So that is open to the north, and that would certainly be an area I'd like to drill coming up and hopefully add some tons to the resource there. And third target remains the LH target about 2 kilometers south of the resource. That's going to take some more detailed geology, three-dimensional work to figure that out. And that could potentially become a fourth resource.
Well, since you heard from Kit here from Western Alaska, appreciate everybody for watching. Thank you, Kit, for being here with us.
Well, thank
This
you
is
as
Crescat
always.
Capital.
It's a good opportunity. I'd like to tell our story, and thank you for the time.
Thanks, Kit. All right, thank you.
This is Kevin Smith. I'm with Crescat Capital, and I'm here with Rory Quinn, who is the CEO of Yukon Metals, a company that Crescat has invested in. We got in pre-IPO, actually. They've recently gone public. And Rory, can you just tell us a little bit about the basic story for the average person who hasn't heard it yet?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Kevin. So we, as a basic point of reference, I think for most people here, we are the fruit of 30 years of prospecting by the Birdall family. The Birdall family have a massive portfolio of very high quality assets in the Yukon. The primary gold assets were floated as Snowline, which of course have been like unbelievably successful over the last 3
Our
or 4 years.
investors are familiar with Snowline. Of course, that's, Crescat got into Snowline pre-IPO as well, and big gold discovery in the Yukon, and it's the same family, the Birdall family that he's talking about, that owns these properties and put together this news story to explore for other, well, they say the non-gold assets, but you guys have gold too, right?
That's it. I mean, we were certainly a different story than Snowline, and it's copper, gold, and silver, lead, zinc primarily. But in our first, what we're seeing is really high grades of gold and silver, right? So we at a silver, lead, zinc asset, we're seeing 10,000 grams per ton silver, which is 4 ounces of gold equivalent.
This is like a giant silver nugget that these guys just found. They're not drilling or anything yet. They're just doing early exploratory work. Quentin, our geologic and technical director, didn't even want them to drill. Yet there's so much, work that they need to do, to identify these targets before they start drilling. But
that's right.
But you guys found. Tell us more about what you found.
Well, yeah, no, that's in Quentin's been so supportive and with his advice and counsel as well. And so, yeah, I mean, he just wanted to make sure that we went about everything the right way and did all the targeting and were responsible with shareholders' money, shareholders like yourself and others. So yeah, what we found is not only this huge amount of silver, and we're finding this all over the place. The rocks that we've just shown you, right, and that are so high in silver, we're seeing those across the property, and then we have other rocks in the same property that are intersecting with galena, which houses the silver, and then we have arsenopyrite where the gold is associated with the arsenic, as often happens, and so we're having both of these types of rocks. So we're seeing 6.9 grams per ton gold, 10,000. It's actually over 10,000 grams per ton. It's stuck in over limit assay at the lab. So
over 10,000 grams per ton silver, right?
Silver, and then like good numbers for zinc and copper as well. So just, I mean, Yukon Metals.
And these results are out in their recent news release, which everyone should go and check out, because my compliance officer won't let me say these are huge nuggets without being able to back it up. Well, go look at the news release.
Yes, thanks, Owen. Yeah, so we put that news out on September the 10th to begin this conference, and the week before we put news out on Birch, which we're equally excited about. It's not as flashy, and we're not seeing big nuggets there, but we did a soil grid there, and so we found nearly 0.99 grams per ton to be exact. Gold up to 99.2 0.99 grams per ton gold across 1,400 meters, big footprint, and over 0.2% copper in soils. That's damn near mineable in soil, right? And so we're not even getting down to the bedrock. So doing all of this work, we'll do IP on top of all of this, the soil sampling, and then really at Birch, we'll do some geological mapping, some more sampling, but there's darn near nothing much else we can do bar drill that. And so we'll be assessing all of the data that we have, the IP, and then we'll be coming to the market with a robust rationale for a sizable drill program at Birch. We'd probably be drilling it next month if it wasn't in the Yukon, right? If it wasn't for the seasonality. And so we'll do that. And then at Star, we are seeing all of these samples. We've only put out 41 of 214 samples. So we're going to have so many more of, I expect, high-grade rocks from multiple areas.
More news coming then.
Lots more news coming. Lots more news coming. And then what we'll do there, we've already done our electromagnetic work. We've got gravity, doing gravity now. So we're going to have so much data to interpret. So we'll do that. We'll build a drill program. We'll demonstrate to the market why we have such a robust rationale for a substantial drilling program. We'll budget it. We'll come to the market with the use of proceeds. We'll raise at a higher price, and we're just going to drill the heck out of both of these properties.
Great. So they've identified 2 key target areas already for drilling next season. Right, it'll be next season.
It will be May. It's the season. I mean, that's with the Yukon.
May's coming up pretty fast.
Obviously, that you guys know so much about. We'll have a large tail of news, and then we'll be coming out with what we intend to do next. But that's why in the Yukon you see the kind of prospectivity you do. It's because you don't see these kind of multiple outcroppings and metal right at surface anywhere else in the world. It's gone, right? If it's in Nevada, Arizona, even Ontario, like. This does not exist. I've spent 20 years in this business, and I've never seen you take a helicopter ride, you get out of the helicopter, and there's metal at surface, right? So that stuff's just gone almost everywhere else.
Well, that's why we're very excited about the Yukon. I think we're invested in about 6 different names in the Yukon, and the region is one of the most exciting areas for friendly jurisdiction, friendly mining jurisdiction. Yes, there was the Victoria heap leach incident that was a little bit of a setback for the area. We're not invested in Victoria, but it was an opportunity for us to increase our investments in a number of the other Yukon stories that were sold off because of this heap leach failure at Victoria, but as the Yukon government itself put out a statement, mining is not going to stop in the Yukon. It's their #1 industry, and so this is an opportunity, I think, to be involved in a lot of different stories. And anyway. Are there any other comments that you want to leave the audience with here about Yukon Metals?
Yeah, I think what I would say is we have a fabulous investment group. When we were able to raise $15 million, provided $2 million to the Birdall family as part of the transaction, and there was about $1 million spent in closing the deal, lawyers' fees, financial fees, and some G&A. So we started out the season with $12 million. We have $10 million now as we sit here. So we've been very responsible with shareholders' money. We're not in a position where we need to access the capital markets. But like I said, I think in the new year, we're going to have put all these bullets out there into the market, news-wise, and we'll be in an excellent position to top up. I want to spend a heck of a lot more than $10 million next season.
Great. So they have big ambitions, a lot of money in the treasury right now for next season, and they'll be raising more money, no doubt, in the future. This is a story that we're very excited about at Crescat. Happy to be shareholders, and really excited that we're able to get in pre-IPO in this story like we did with Snowline. and the Bradall family are significant shareholders as well, right? And your background, Rory, you were with Silver Wheaton, right, for a number of years?
That's right. I've spent most of my career in junior mining, but except for 7 years at Wheaton, and then now back in the junior space. Yeah, and that's part of what interested me about this portfolio, is because about 90% probably of Wheaton's portfolio, right, $30 billion company, most of their revenue is from copper, gold, and silver, lead, zinc mines, and just so the kind of wealth that can be created from byproduct gold and silver as part of base metal operations is massive, and generally these copper, gold, and silver, lead, zinc projects are much bigger than primary gold or primary silver projects. Yeah, and then you can have like medium grades in base metals, but then if you've got these high grade byproduct gold and silver, that makes the difference between a project.
The precious metals credits are nice, aren't they?
Absolutely. It can make it, like I said, something can be a project.
The world needs copper, the world needs silver and zinc, but when they come with gold and gold credits as well, that's pretty nice.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Rory, thank you
thanks for having me.
For talking with us today, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.